I said, "Whoever marries you will be lucky," and she whispered, "I was hoping it would be you." The words escaped my mouth before I could stop them, and the silence that followed felt heavier than any storm I had ever lived through. The woman standing across the white picket fence lowered her eyes for just a second before looking back at me with tears quietly gathering. Then, in a voice barely louder than the summer breeze, she whispered that she had been hoping it would be me. In that single moment, everything I believed about timing, love, and regret shattered around me. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories that remind us all there is still goodness in the world. My name is Nathan, and this happened in a quiet neighborhood outside Charleston, South Carolina. I had lived there for almost 5 years after losing my wife, Rebecca, to a long illness. Grief had become part of my daily routine. I worked as a carpenter during the day, came home to an empty house each evening, and convinced myself that surviving was the same as living. It wasn't. Everything began changing the day Olivia moved into the little blue house next door with her father, Thomas. They weren't running from anything dramatic. They were simply starting over after years spent caring for Olivia's mother until cancer finally won. Their pain looked different from mine, but somehow we recognized it in each other without ever speaking about it. Over the next 2 years, friendship quietly replaced loneliness. We shared coffee on Saturday mornings, traded homemade meals, and spent evenings planting flowers along the sidewalk. Thomas often joked that our gardens competed more than we ever did. His laughter filled the neighborhood with warmth, and for the first time in years, I found myself smiling without forcing it. Still, I refused to let my heart move any further. Loving someone again felt like betraying the woman I had promised forever. Every time I caught myself looking at Olivia a little longer than I should, guilt pulled me back. I convinced myself she deserved someone untouched by heartbreak, someone who hadn't built emotional walls so high that even happiness struggled to climb over them. Then Thomas suffered a heart attack. The doctors saved his life, but recovery was slow. During those difficult months, I drove him to appointments, fixed broken shelves around the house, and stayed late whenever Olivia looked exhausted. She never asked for help, yet I could see the weight she carried. She worked full-time at the local library, cared for her father, and somehow still found time to bring fresh bread to elderly neighbors every Sunday. Watching her love people so naturally changed something inside me. She wasn't pretending to be strong. She simply chose kindness even when life gave her every reason to become bitter. Months later, Thomas recovered enough to return to his favorite rocking chair on the porch. One evening, while the sky glowed orange over the neighborhood, he quietly told me that life rarely gives people more than one chance to choose courage over fear. I knew exactly what he meant, but I smiled and changed the subject. Not long after, Olivia told me she had accepted a job in Nashville, Tennessee. It was the opportunity she had dreamed about for years. Everyone congratulated her. I did too, inside, however. It felt as though someone had quietly removed the ground beneath my feet. The night before her moving truck arrived, neighbors gathered for a small farewell dinner. Laughter echoed through the yard, children chased fireflies across the grass, and music drifted softly through the warm evening air. As people slowly began leaving, we found ourselves standing alone beside the fence that had separated our homes but somehow connected our lives. I looked at her, forcing a smile that hid everything I truly felt. I told her that whoever married her would be the luckiest man alive, because she had the rare gift of making every place feel like home. That was when she whispered the words that stopped time. She had been hoping it would be me, for a heartbeat. Neither of us moved. Every excuse I had repeated for years suddenly sounded meaningless. My fear had never protected anyone. It had only stolen precious moments that could never be replaced. I admitted that I had loved her quietly for longer than I could remember, but believed I wasn't allowed to love again. Olivia gently reminded me that love doesn't replace the people we've lost. It honors them by teaching us to keep living with open hearts. The next morning, the moving truck never arrived. Instead, Olivia called the company and postponed everything. She wasn't giving up her dream. She was simply giving our story a chance to become part of it. We spent the following months building a future neither of us believed we deserved. Thomas smiled more than either of us had ever seen, proudly walking Olivia down the aisle the following spring in the small white church, just a few miles from our neighborhood. Life never became perfect. We still remembered those we had lost. We still had difficult days. But grief no longer sat alone at our table. Hope joined it. So did laughter, family dinners, Sunday walks, and quiet mornings, filled with gratitude instead of silence. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe for more inspiring stories that remind us love often arrives when we least expect it. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us, have you ever let fear keep you from telling someone how you truly felt? Or did you find the courage to speak from your heart? Sometimes, the hindi varla. Greatest miracle isn't finding the right person. It's finding the courage to stop running from the happiness that has been waiting right beside you all along. And sometimes, the words that change your entire life are not shouted across a crowded room. They are whispered softly over a simple white fence, where two healing hearts finally choose each other.